So today we're going to be talking about spell work. Now, the spell work that I'm going to be talking about today is not one that I do in particular. It's more so that I remove it. So if you don't know, I'm a curandera. I do healing. I do removals of magic, more so on people. I do spell work, but that's not really, I like to remove all the heavy bad stuff. So I'm going to be talking about third party removals. I'm also going to be talking about come to me spells because they're similar in a way. So that's the spell work that I'm going to talk about today, what it looks like when it's placed on you. Because this magic looks a whole lot different than when you have like in tranquil work or something feeding on you, or like root magic or a curse or a hex or something. Even though it is a curse, it's a hex that's placed over your love life. It just looks and feels a little bit more different than when you have like an actual spirit attachment on you. So we've already kind of discussed in previous videos, or I've talked about it in previous videos, when I talk about in tranquil magic, when I talk about people, putting spirits on you, jumbie on you, jab on you, when it's like feeding your life force. But this is going to be different because third party removals or come to me spells are still done with spirits, right? You can still do in tranquil magic when it comes to the come to me spell. However, when somebody is trying to remove a third party, um, typically that kind of magic is done, or people petition or want that kind of magic when they break up with someone and that person moves on and they're dating someone else and they want to break up that couple or break up a marriage or whatever the case is. That's normally the times that I have seen that. It's usually when that person has moved on into a new relationship and then things start getting all weird and wonky. Now, personally, the reason why I don't do that kind of stuff is because I just feel like there's just way too many fish in the sea for I'm not wasting a candle on not nobody. Nobody's getting the candle. Nobody's getting work from. No, but that's not happening, right? I don't want nobody. I never needed nobody that bad where I had to light a candle to bring them back or whatever the case is. That's just personally not my cup of tea. But when I have seen it on a client, when I've seen it on somebody who came to me because they needed it removed, normally what's happening is they'll meet somebody. However, even if they weren't like thinking about their ex, even if they haven't been talking about their ex, all of a sudden is just like these ruminating thoughts that keep coming in, right? Ruminating thoughts, it just keep coming in. Every time you try to like pass it or push that thought away, you just need to think about that person to the point where it starts to become like obsessive. You start having like obsessive thoughts, and it's not obsessive thoughts like I need to be with this person. It's just you keep thinking about this person, you're dreaming about this person is just constantly popping up in the mix. Now it is weird because it's like it creates a cord to the other person, which is why you start having those obsessive thoughts, or that person is having those obsessive thoughts, is because there's a cord connecting, energetically from the other person to you or to the victim or whoever it is. And what it is it's constantly just reminding you that that person is there. It just strengthening the cord that you have with that person. Now, what I've also noticed is when you contact the person or when you talk to the person, it almost seems like the symptoms kind of clear up. Like you feel a little bit better because you're in contact with that person, but you still might feel like, I just don't want to be with this person, but I need to talk to them. It's a very weird, obsessive feeling. Also, what you will notice is if there is another person that is in the mix, if they're starting to date someone new or whatever the case is, arguments all the time. I'm talking about by the smallest thing. Everything agitates you. Everything turns you off about that person. Everything makes you annoyed by that person. And it kind of goes both ways, especially if that other person is under the influence of the spell, or if that person is, sensitive, spiritually sensitive, and they can pick up on that kind of energy. And I'm talking about the smallest things will set you off into an argument with this person. Everything about that person is going to annoy you. Everything agitates you. It just kind of completely repels, right? It's very much of an energetic, and I mean like magnetism. What it does, instead of attracting that person to them, it repels them away, and it makes them feel like I can't be around this person right now because they're annoying me. Their energy is agitating me. It's annoying me. But that's typically what that spell work looks like. They're always fighting, they're always arguing when they're around each other or in the presence of each other or talking. And then the other person, the victim, will become obsessive with their ex, where they're feeling more drawn. Even if they don't want to be with that person anymore, they'll just feel that like compelled, like I have to talk to this person, I have to be with this person. There's also times where people will, you'll notice where there's like a decrease in your sex drive. So the new person that you're with, you're unable to, satisfy them, vice versa. It almost feels like a repulsion. That spell will literally not only just, make you feel repulsed by that person or not attracted or whatever the case is, but like I said, like a magnet, it's just going to repel you away from that person, just ultimately, breaking the contract that you have with that person, that energetic contract person. The energetic contract that you have with a new person, because the old person, right, the person who put the spell on you or on the person, on the victim, is trying to fulfill their contract. So it's almost like, in a way, and a lot of the times, the word contract is something that's very, very common in spell work. Contracts are very, very important, right? When you're doing any kind of spell work with a spirit, no matter what spirit is, there's always some kind of energetic contract. When you're dealing with another person, that's an energetic contract. So basically what happens is they're trying to have a contract or that energetic cord with the previous person. So the new person that's inside of the mix, that contract is basically being broken or termed so that they're no longer able to have or create or seal a connection with another person. But that's probably, that spell work is probably a little less difficult to remove, especially, even if they're doing in tranquil magic or using in tranquils to fulfill that kind of work. However, it is one of those things where you'll kind of notice it's almost like a flip. The energy in a relationship just flips so quick, it's almost like it blindsides you. And that's typically how you know that there's some kind of magic at play when it comes to like a relationship.